Welcome to Substack Explained. We're going to talk quickly about setting up a new account. And joining me on the panel will be our friend and fellow Mondays with Myrt panelist, Dan Maloney. Dan,
Hey, Myrt.
it's one of those, it's Friday probably,
It's Friday,
right?
yeah.
And full
Anything that
moon,
bad that goes on today, we can just chalk it up to it's Friday.
that's for sure. But what we're going to do is a lot easier than running a webcam and having it all stream out live to YouTube. So far, we got about 8 users over there. What I'd like to know from you all on the YouTube side is, do you already have a Substack account? Now, this is particularly important because effective April 1st, old Myrt here is changing so that her Dear Myrtle Facebook group will still be there. But the bulk of everything I do will be on Substack in a place called Dear Myrtle's Village Square. I do not want to have my posts removed, or I do not want to have intrusions from advertising. And I'm finding that life on Substack is easy, and there's a lot of connectivity among genealogy producers. And I see you concur, Dan.
Yeah, I think that's one of the beauties of Substack is it integrates a lot of different types of social networking into one interface. So yourself as somebody who is putting out content,
Mm-hmm.
you can connect together what you would put the list that you would have for a newsletter, the people that are reading your blogs, people who listen to your shows on YouTube. You can
Mm-hmm.
connect all those communities together kind of under one roof, and it's a community that you have a lot of control over. So there's a lot of ways to reach your audience on Substack, and there's a lot of ways to find out about new people if you're a reader on Substack, find out about people who are in a similar vein to some of the people you're already interested in. There's a lot of great recommendations on Substack.
Oh, well, and it's built into the Substack environment. Now, I have a pretty darn wonderful close friend who said, I don't want to join and learn one more thing. You can click on a link to a post and view it as a non-member of Substack because it's public. I'm making them public.
Yeah, at the front of it, a Substack post is essentially like a blog post. It's
Mhm.
a web accessible URL that you can share and access freely over the internet without having to sign up or anything like that. So it really appeals to and it's accessible to a broad audience.
Mhm. Well, we're going to go look at your Substack for a moment. Let's put your graphic up on the stage. In fact, I'll zoom in on it. So you are logged in because I can tell in the upper right corner, there's your little leaf with
Yep.
the leaf in the background icon. That's your profile picture of choice. And what we're looking at is what the page would look like if you did not have an account. And if you were going to then search Substack, you see at the top, folks, that he has a search option at the top. You could just search for Dear Myrtle, all one word, or genealogy. Yeah, there's Dear Myrtle's Village Square. So if you click on that, can you zoom in slightly?
Yep.
I think it's just Control plus plus. Yeah. Okay, so Dear Myrtle has, this is my main space, but and you can see my familiar profile picture. And then you can see that I have 2 publications, Dear Myrtle's Village Square and Ginea Quilters. So we're going to experiment with trying to make a group of people who can all post. Can't do it for 60,000 people, but I could do it for 30 quilters that like to share pictures of their work in progress, things they find. Would you click on Village Square? So this is my Dear Myrtle's public square. And you would have to go through this exact process that Dan was doing if you did not have a Substack account, unless somebody gave you a link to a post that was here, part of Dear Myrtle's Village Square. And then you would come directly in, as Dan is saying. It's a public URL. You'll be able to be there. Hi, Project Kin Barbara from Berkeley, California. She's one of our mentors, and I appreciate it. Great supporter. All right, do you want to hit your back button? And we will quickly go and create a new account. Let me sign in with... Okay, the other account. Now, by the way, Dan has picked the dark background, which kind of bugs me. This is what it looks like for me if I bring it up. No offense.
It's a generational thing.
It is,
I feel like,
totally.
yeah,
There's
it's a
still really
millennial
great.
black.
Yes, definition is fine between the white lettering and the black background. It's very much like Discord and all that. First time I saw something with the black background, I'm like, am I doing a black hat, deep, dark web thing? No, just a different choice of a background.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Dear Myrtle's view of things, but I'm going to actually sign out. And you see how I do have, and I think I'm way zoomed in. Yeah, it's 150%. So here, there's no account at all. I have to either sign in the upper right or create an account. And when you go to create an account, right off the bat, it gives you some thoughts about what you might be interested in. When you click on history, Barbara, there's the word genealogy. I'm also going to put military history for Mr. Myrt. Let's see what else. Cultural history, historical events, ancient history, biographies. All kinds of interesting topics. This is because right off the bat, you don't want to be faced with everything about food and drink if you're not a culinary specialist. And if you're not an artist and into watercolor or illustration or fashion and design, you don't want to be inundated with the plethora of posts. Yeah. This is, we discovered this genealogy button quite by accident the last time I set up an account, Barbara, and we're pretty darn excited about it. And I see that Sue Tolbert is here from Windy, Oklahoma. And and I did embed a YouTube live link that opens right there within Substack. Yeah, I discovered that this morning when I made that post. So new things are happening to make it easier for people like me and Barbara and Dan, who like to share what they're doing in the genealogy and writing and history vertical. So I'm going to click continue. Whoops, got to be on this screen. Now, Substack is recommending a couple of things. Based on your interest, here are some things that we might enjoy. Now, I probably want to keep learning more about Substack. But if I didn't want to, I could deselect any one of these items. Be sure to scroll down. Well, there's all kinds of interesting things. Let's just deselect or unselect all. And continue without subscribing. Now, subscribing doesn't have to mean money's involved. Let me assure my dear friend who doesn't want to learn Substack, you don't have to do it that way. Okay. Let's do Dear Myrtle Archive.
One thing I'll add, Myrt, as you're putting your email in there is when you're signing up for Substack, so it doesn't use kind of a traditional login system with a username and password. It's all based on your email address. So when you want to log in, and entering your email address will send you a confirmation email, and clicking on that will be essentially your password. It assumes that only you have access to your own personal email.
Yeah, theoretically possibly. Okay, so we're going to click Get Started. If I had done this by mistake, there's a way to get out. If I already have an account, I can click the sign in there. Alrighty. So now I have to come up with a name. So we'll call it Dear Myrtle Archives, just so I can remember which nom de plume I'm using. And type my handle, Myrt Archive. I'm not going to use this account. And I closely follow Dear Myrtle and Dan. And it's your, what is your actual name here on Substack, Dan? There's a couple of Dan Maloney.
My Substack is genealogy ASST for genealogy assistant.
GENEALOGY, then the rest of it?
ASST.
Assistant.
Yeah, but it's just shortened because it was too long.
Yeah, and you had to do it appropriately. Now, right here is where you can change your profile picture if you wish. And most people want to do something that is their, that's an avatar, especially in the beginning. If you would prefer to keep this generic looking thing, that's okay. Dan added the 2 leaves, and I, on my main account, have my little Dear Myrtle graphic that's so familiar. Okay, so I'm going to click continue. And it says handles are only letters and numbers. I think
so the handle is essentially your username. So it's so that will be substack.com/. So it would want to be so it won't like the space and it won't like the apostrophe.
Okay. Yeah, it certainly didn't, but that's actually why I did that. Because I discovered that last time when I set up another account for somebody. I just wanted you to see what would happen. It will remind you. It doesn't say you have to use letters and numbers and exclamation points. It just wants letters or numbers, no spaces. Okay. Sheila says, "Oh, I'm already understanding a bit better. I'm glad we're helping you." Sheila on somebody else's account. It's all good. It's all good. All right. Okay, I'm going to zoom out again so that you can see the full page. Okay, and we're going to click continue. All right. Now, you can do an app. I want to talk about the word app because Windows a few years ago decided that apps would be what they called programs on like a Windows 10 or a Windows 11 computer. And that was confusing to people because in the prior years, an app was meant for your smartphone or your tablet, not for your computer. You do not have to use a Substack app on your smartphone. I use the smartphone to read when I'm first waking up in the morning and I want to read some happy news about who's making genealogical breakthroughs and fun stuff like that. But when I'm doing my particular blog posts and things, I want to sit at my computer. I've got my whole genealogy world around me. I've covered up with my Dear Myrtle quilt all my messy files for now. But if I had to go look for something and quickly scan it, I'm in my office. But millions of people just use the Substack app on their Android or iOS device, mobile device. Now, for those of you who are on a Chromebook, you're not installing programs anyway because the hard drive, because it's a connection to cloud-based resources. So you'd just be signing in to your email or your Substack account and go from there. Anyway, I'm not sending a link to the app. Actually, what I did when I set up the account for my friend is on her phone, I took a picture of that particular QR code, took her right there to a page on Substack where she could download the appropriate app for her device. So I hope that makes sense, Sheila, about what is an app and if you have to have it on a smartphone or not. Okay. Anything else, Dan? You're smiling, so I must be doing okay.
You're doing amazing. Yes, absolutely. One
Considering I'm old enough to be your mother or your grandmother.
another way to read on Substack is you can receive the messages in your email inbox, which is depending on what your kind of reading workflow is like. That may work for you. It may not. Um,
Yeah.
so it gives you kind of the option of both. So for me, I like getting a few select Substacks that I'm subscribed to in my email inbox because they're ones that I like to read every time, and whenever they put something out, I know I'm gonna, kind of
Mm-hmm.
read it right away. So I like to get those kind of select few Substacks that I'm subscribed to right in my inbox, but mostly I'm reading them through the app.
Mm-hmm. I like to do that as well. At first I was getting tons of email when people like something that I posted, when the other authors and podcasters and video bloggers were doing things. I was getting notifications coming up
Hmm.
on my phone and also on my in my email, and I turned almost all of that off except for the ones that I knew I wanted to read like on the dime as soon
Yep.
as it was posted. And there are settings for that. Okay, so we're going to click continue because we're happy with it. Okay, I'm all set up. This did not require you to import all your contacts. Now, I actually had a friend who told me that she started to sign up for Substack and that she was required to do that. I don't know where she was, and I would like to help her understand. No, they're not asking you for all your contacts. Remember, over on the Facebook platform, we had to, tighten up our friends list for security reasons because there's a lot of spoofing going on.
Hmm.
They're not actually taking over an account or hijacking them. They're copying and then pretending or posing as if they were somebody. But we don't have that problem here because of how we log in. It's just as how we log into our email accounts. Okay, so I can just start reading because they say you can now start reading posts from publications you subscribe to. You haven't subscribed to anything yet. So let's go subscribe, Dear Myrtle. So Dan, we're going to look for Dear Myrtle. I think I'm being very self-served, but anyway, there's Dear Myrtle's Village Square. Now, underneath the word Dear Myrtle here, let me really zoom in. Okay, there's me, Dear Myrtle Archive, with a generic default profile picture. Here's Dear Myrtle, the profile. That's what I created first. And that's probably what most of my followers will do for a long time till they get comfortable with Substack. I could make posts as a profile. I could make post notes, which don't go to anybody's email. I could create podcasts. I could do a video recording, a video live that is subsequently recorded, such as the one that Barbara did where she hosted me and interviewed me. That's Barbara at Project Kin who's watching. All that I could do as a profile. But I created Dear Myrtle's Village Square as a publication so it would be very easy for you to see the blog posts I make on Substack, the links to good other content, which is called curating content that other genealogists are posting. And it's more in a magazine style format. I think it's a little, then you don't have to scroll down 432 miles because sometimes I get wordy. Anyway, I want to subscribe to Dear Myrtle's publication. And right now I have 173 subscribers, which is pretty good.
That's awesome.
I've only been over here a little bit, Dan, and Barb knows that. Barbara knows that. But I will go and click, and it automatically inserts my email address there. So let me zoom in a little bit. Apparently you have to zoom in every time, but that's okay. And I'm going to click subscribe and watch the cool thing that happens next. Now, I'm not asking people to pledge to pay for Dear Myrtle. I was playing with it to see what would happen if somebody did click to pledge. I have not connected the account that goes with it that would bring money to my bank account. And I've left it here while I'm thinking. Sometimes people do donate to me, and sometimes PayPal acts up, and I don't want to buy me a cup of coffee, or have any posts that are partly public and partly behind a paywall, which other people do. Generally speaking, though, the folks that I know of, Michael John Neal, Maureen Taylor, the photo detective, Robin, who is Genealogy Just Ask, all of the genealogy vertical people that I know do not charge. You can belong to their group, like Dear Myrtle's Village Square is a group equivalent to what we have in the Dear Myrtle group on Facebook. It's just called the Village Square over here. Anyway, you can definitely click no pledge. I've actually had a number of pledges, and I about fainted as I discovered it quite by default. Maybe I should say I will pay and see what it looks like if I'd have to put my credit card.
So Substack
Okay.
is integrated with a payment processor called Stripe, which is the largest payment processor on the internet. And if you were to want to set that up, it's really friction free. So if you are somebody who's publishing and you want to be able to get donations and subscriptions
Yeah,
from your subscribers, it's really not a hard process at all.
I just haven't gotten around to it because I was learning more about Substack, and then they had this little thing called Roots Tech 2025 that involved a couple of days travel each way to get there, plus enjoy it. All right, so I just wanted y'all to know what the experience is for signing up. So we're saying no pledge, and I'm perfectly comfortable. Now, this is a cool built-in integration. Dear Myrtle recommends certain people. In fact, I think that's Maureen Taylor. Well, we'll go look. You can see who they are. Thought you could. Oh, wait, I have to be up here. I'm looking in the wrong spot. Let's go see who these people are. Not telling me. Well, I know that
if you click the arrow to the far left, Myrt, I think it might.
It's not doing it.
Oh, it doesn't do anything, no.
Not today on a Chrome browser. Because I swear I have seen what the specifics are in a previous post. So if you're concerned, there's Genealogy Matters. I'm just going to trust Myrt. These are people that it's either a person I've recommended or Dear Myrtle has recommended, my alter ego. or a publication like Dear Myrtle's magazine, known as Dear Myrtle's Village Square. You can trust me. I don't know why it's not letting me pick and choose among them, because I have seen that, and in fact just did it the other day with the person I helped set up. I've done it twice. I don't know why they're not showing up.
I think that's one of the great things about Substack as well. The recommendations, they're not based on Substack's recommendations or an algorithm. You're
Yes.
recommending people yourself. And I think that there's something really special about that. People will really only recommend things that they're vouching for, stuff that they really enjoy. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a great way to find other high quality content from the people who you're already reading.
Mm-hmm. It also saves me having to say, go to Genealogy Matters, go to Project Kent, go to Genealogy ASST, find out what the heck Dan's doing. You know, go to Project, what is it for Daniel Loftus? Can't remember his. Well, in fact, I can't remember right now. But if you looked at what I read, you would find out. Let's go back to the shared screen. Okay, you're trusting Myrt here, and I appreciate that. And I've taken that seriously since the beginning. I can remember when the internet was so new. Well, before the internet, and in the AOL genealogy forum, those of us that we had about 25 of us on the leadership team, and I helped do coding. I was one of 4 or 5 codings that worked for a part-time job
Wow,
with,
that's awesome.
yeah, with George Ferguson, the owner of the AOL Golden Gate Genealogy Forum. And when the Afrogenius website set up a website, I thought, would we ever want to have a website? Because we had CompuServe over here with Dick Eastman, and we had Myra Vanderpool Gormley over here on another service, and the 25 of us who are still into genealogy over on AOL, we didn't need the internet. Was I ever out of it? But then we started having things like Amazon, and people wanted to buy books online, especially people that some of my followers are homebound. And so I taught them about Amazon. I taught them about Ancestry when that website developed. I remember when Family Search came online. I guess we don't need to be doing a retrospective of my experience with the development of the web. But anyway, yeah.
Well,
All right.
that's why we love Dear Myrtle, because you're willing to try stuff out, and I think that's a really incredible skill to have, especially as technology gets so advanced and fast paced. The willingness to just try, I think, is a huge
Well,
asset.
thank you. Thank you. I'll give you extra money at the end of the month for that compliment. No, Dan is totally a volunteer panelist, and we appreciate it whenever he has time to spend with us. Okay, so again, I'm recommending people. These are the people that I already follow and whose publications I already subscribe to. I think there's one where I gave a donation, but that's it. Oh, I think it was but enough of all that. Okay. So now we could spread the word if we wanted to. We could literally click share and copy the link to say, oh, I found Dear Myrtle Square, and you could put this link anywhere. You could put it in a instant message to somebody. If you're doing this on your phone, you could send a text message to somebody, email, anything. And I appreciate it when you all share the news. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. Maybe later is an option. So we'll click there. And now you are in Dear Myrtle's Village Square, which is that publication. Now, right now, this is the article that Barbara, Project Kin, was talking about. where I had posted about this meeting. There was a nice promo graphic, handsome guy there, and some text. And when I went to put the link to the YouTube video in this post, it became an embedded video link. I didn't ask it to embed. I didn't have to do anything fancy. I just had the URL that came up when I went to my YouTube channel and clicked the share button for this video. That's how easy it is to make a post or make a message, a note. Let's go back and look at this is the specific article at the top. There's Village Square. This top part, I've got the default setting of my magazine. I'm trying to do it simple, the defaults whenever possible. Yeah, I've seen how others have added all kinds of subcategories and pinned posts and things like that. I'm trying to just do it the plain vanilla type. When you come to Dear Myrtle's Village Square, the most recent article I have posted is at the top, and it goes across 2 columns. Then what you see are the latest or the top posts or discussions we might be having. Okay. And under latest, remember that the latest, greatest is at the top. Thank you to 3 people who loved it. Now I can now heart things or like them. Before that, I couldn't do that as just a viewer. I could not comment, and I could not, this little thing is restack, and this little part is how to share it on various sites. Oh, I forgot about that. It would go to Blue Sky. Okay. Anyway, back. I need to be back. So when it says latest, it really means that sorting by latest, this is the latest before the one that's pinned at the top. And there's that reminder, pledge your support. Here's 6 that I recommend. And I actually have more to recommend. What happened while I was at Roots Tech? Okay. All right. So with any post, I will try, for those of you who are following me, I will, oh, golly, that's a big picture of my grandma Myrtle. I remember giggling. Yeah, that was a very tender thing. And this is my grandma.
This was such a lovely post. I love this.
Thank you. This, the old camera way was just the pits because you didn't know what you got till you got the film developed.
Yeah.
And that's my grandma on the very end, cut off. But she was one of the nurses in 1915 at St. Mark's Hospital.
Wow.
So you can always comment anyway once you're on a post, but sometimes I put little reminders in there like comment, tell me about your female relative, because this is Women's History Month. And I will also put little notifications to get those who haven't subscribed yet to please subscribe. And then I wanted to highlight Robin Stewart, and I did not link to her post, which I should have done, but I'm getting there. I'm getting better at it. Here's where I may like that particular post. Here's where I may comment. Here's where I may, what they call restack. Any comments about this? I think we're good.
Yeah, I think Substack is really user-friendly in terms of the publishing and the user interface. It's really straightforward. It's similar to a lot of other blogging platforms that you may have used, like WordPress or Blogger, but a little bit more focused purely on the content creation. Things like WordPress has so much extraneous stuff involved with it, whereas Substack is really more similar to a Google document that you're creating and publishing.
And remember, it's not just for writers. I mean, it's principally for writers, but they've added the video capability. They've made it easy for me to share a link that's external without shutting me down. I've had that happen on another platform. Oh, and you can also do a podcast here. Who knows what other things are coming down the pipe to help? So basically, I think we've accomplished our tasks. I showed where you could change your profile picture. And thanks for giving feedback here and there as we went through this process of looking at Substack, where all we have is a search capability because we're not a member.
Mhm.
We want to find Dear Myrtle. And I also appreciate those of you who are here and are experimenting and willing to learn more about what the heck is Substack. This has been Substack Explained, setting up a new account. Thank you, Dan. And
My
there's
pleasure.
nothing left. There's nothing left to say, but I'm Dear Myrtle, your not so retired friend in genealogy. Happy family tree climbing, everybody. That's a wrap.